for this today's webinar on Publish to Flourish. So today our speaker is Professor Dr. Pogaku Ravindra. He is from Department of Chemical Engineering, Cornell University, University of South Carolina, Columbia, USA. And he is the founder and CEO of SAARP International LLC. And he is a distinguished professor of chemical and bioprocess engineering with over 40 years of experience. And he is having in-depth knowledge in academic procedures, curriculum development, and academic regularity. And his expertise in industry and emerging technologies. And he is an internationally renowned expert in bioenergy and biofuels field. If you are coming to his educational background, he is graduated as well as PG from Usmania University, Hyderabad. Then PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad. And he did a postdoctoral fellow and a visiting scientist in the Cornell University. And he was the professor of chemical engineering at Usmania University, Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, University of Malaysia, visiting professor at Cornell University, Pennsylvania State University, and UNESCO consultant, especially on sustainable energy products for Southeast Asian countries. He published over 230 research publications with good impact factor. H index is around 47. And he has published 5 books. And he is the editor-in-chief, editorial board member, and guest editor in refereed journals, and reviewer of many peer-reviewed journals. So with this introduction, I hand over that session to Dr. P. Ravindra. Sir, now you can start with your session and make it full screen, sir. F5.
Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You can start now, sir.
Yeah. Professor Guru, thank you very much for wonderful introduction. Hope I deserve it. Okay. Good morning to all the participants from all over the India and neighboring countries. Let me introduce the publication, the importance of the publishing, and that really helps you to flourish. So that made me to make the title as Publish to Flourish. I have devoted my life to an academic research pursuit, and that's what I wanted to share my passion, love, and commitment to publish, to flourish with all of you dedicated and enthusiastic researchers. The flow of thoughts, motivation for the publication, what is the roadmap to publish, and how beautifully we prepared the manuscript. And while doing the preparation of the manuscript, we have some common pitfalls. And sometimes, especially for the people from India and other countries, neighboring countries, thinking English as a foreign language, always, and the plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and dual publications. And once you get the publication draft is ready, when you send it, what type of reviews you get, so that is dealing with the reviews, and what are the different aids for the reviewing, and how do we maximize the citations. These are the content of my presentation today. So publication is a vital component, the scholarly pursuit of the maintenance and advancement of one's research field. Publication is an expectation for tenure and promotion in the universities and the research organizations. Publishing research can lead to valuable networking opportunities for research collaboration. Publishing gives you a sense of ownership. You did something, and if you find your name in the Google, you feel, yes, you did something. You feel proud of yourself. Publishing the work enhances the visibility of the institution wherever you are working. The research publishing is imperative for the acquisition of funding from private and public sources. It's like a snowball model. These days, funding is a big priority wherever you are working. So you need to acquire funding from the private as well as the public sectors. And funding agencies want to know that we are capable of doing which we propose. Without evident success in the past, securing funds is very difficult. It's an arduous task. So you can see the quote, he did not publish, so he is perished. You can see the Berry's world. What are the challenges in publishing? Research results published is time consuming, hard work oriented, and peer reviewed journals have high expectations. That's a big challenge. Compiling and submitting the work done for publication may seem daunting and unattainable. However, the rewards outweigh the struggle it may take to succeed. Further, the importance of the publications. Academic career depends on publication list. Young PhD graduates, a few publications may convince potential employer of research potential enough to get you shortlisted. Something is better than nothing, but at the same time, avoid publishing crap. Strategic planning is useful. Publish what, where, at what place, with whom. Let me tell you the 9 golden tips to publish in high impact factor journals. A strong title, which should be very catchy. Make good use of figures and tables and must include schematic. Your research must be robust and solve a significant problem. You write a clear abstract. You must write concisely, clearly, and succinctly. Focus on your paper publication productivity. Collaborate with experienced scientists or researchers. Follow the journal's instructions carefully. Respond honestly to the comments of the reviewers. If you keep in mind these 9 tips, I think you are on the way to success in publications. The research metrics are based on impact factor, H index, as well as I-10 index, I-20 index. Eigenfactor, these details I'm not describing, hoping that you know these details. So my citations, 7530, I-10 index, 103, H index 47, as on today. The journal impact factor, I'm citing about 10 only. We have about 350 full journal titles. And for the space point of view, I've taken only 10 total sites, journal impact factor, and eigenfactor scores. The countries leading in the world with the scientific publications are Asia, China, followed by the United States, and India being the third country, the leading scientific publications. followed by the Germany, Japan, UK, Russia, Italy. And you can see the global share of China is about 20.67%. United States 16.54 and India 5.31%. Percentage doesn't mean the number is less, but the magnitude of the publications is quite high for India also. The journal publications hierarchy, you have a referred or peer-reviewed journals that have been screened by an author's peers, experts who work in the same field as the author. So that is the top of the pyramid, such as Harvard International Review. Then we have the scholarly academic, which will present the in-depth original research authored by academic for a limited audience, usually documented with footnotes and bibliography. Then we have the journals of trade, logics today, commercial career journals, which covers the industry trends, patents, practices for a specific trade or a business sector. And the popular articles contain short or general interest articles, usually unsigned and without references or bibliography. This is the hierarchy of the journal publications. Basically, the research publication that we do, the roadmap for that would be basic research that leads to the applied research, and from there, innovations, exploitation of the patents protection will form, and that liberates into the wealth, and the wealth that comes out of that can be turned into a basic, it can be applied for the basic research. So I will highlight these things in next 3-4 slides. Innovation, protection, it is a successful exploitation of new ideas and is a vital ingredient for competitiveness, productivity, and social gain within business and organizations. That was defined in the London Innovation, and this is one of the UK's leading development agencies. The wealth creation from 1991 till today, you can see asset values trends, intangible asset value and tangible asset value. The key factors for this, the competitive pressure, and these days we see a lot of cutbacks in research and development, and that really drives for the efficiency, push for the innovation, globalization of the markets, commitments to the maximize shareholder value. So that brings the driving force for the wealth creation, these key factors. And the transfer of wealth back into the research. Whatever wealth is generated from the applied research and innovative schemes, and that wealth further can be put into the basic research activity. It's a cyclic process. And Genetech, University of Leuven, Pfizer, Oklahoma State, Boston, Princeton, and California, BASF, German company, Universities of Freiburg, Magdeburg, and Karlsruhe, as well as Arizona State and California and Pittsburgh. These are the places where these companies have invested for the basic research. And the European Union versus US and Japan in terms of expenditure on research and development as a proportion of GDP. Research and development intensity in 2018, including commercial projects, European Union 2.13%, US 2.79%, Japan 3.08%. That really tells us how much investment is being pumped into the basic research by these continents and countries. So the challenge for the wealth creation, knowledge transfer from academia to industry, that's a big challenge, and vice versa. Who is doing what, how do we find what funding is available, how do we facilitate communication, that is networking, the commercial incentives. So wealth transfer back from the economy again to the fund basic research. The challenge of sustainable wealth creation cycle, Eurocrise, the Council for European Organization responsible for publicizing work on current research information systems. Initiative, you have database of people, research centers, funding, etc. Research documentation systems. With this background, now our question to all of us would be where to publish. We must look for a high impact factor journal, a valuable journal which has quality and reputed editorial board members, the acceptance rate of your papers, how soon and how much time they take in accepting, the time to publication. Once they accept the time to publication, they take a lot of time also, some journals. So you must look into the time to publication. I'm sure youngsters are very much enthusiastic to publish as soon as they submit the paper. So they look for the small journals, the low impact factor. So that's not really advisable. Journal circulation, you need to look at the journal circulation and the visibility of the journal. So these are the 6 aspects you must think before you decide to publish. Publish in a quality journal. It is better to publish one paper in a quality journal than multiple papers in lesser quality journals. Try to publish in journals that have high impact factors. Chances are high for your paper will also have high impact if it is accepted. So don't work alone. Teams increasingly dominate solo authors in the production of knowledge. Now the order of the day is working in the team of authors. Research is increasingly done in teams across almost all the fields. Teams typically produce more frequently cited research than individuals do, and this advantage has been increasing over a period of time. Teams now also produce the exceptionally high impact research. That the distinction was once the domain of solo authors. That was given by the Uchi and Jones. I have given the reference down. And we need to plan and coordinate your writing. Ask 2 questions before you start. What is new in your work? What are you doing to write? Then emphasize on the originality and significance of your work. Organize your critical thinking and decide the structure of your paper. Stick on your central points throughout the whole paper and remove all unnecessary discussions. Always remember your writing style should be always reader oriented writing style. Purpose of your writing, disseminating your research results. Don't write if there is nothing to write. Don't make a simple problem complicated to fool people. Don't hide technical details. Reader-oriented writing, write in a way that will lead readers to follow your thinking, not in the way of your thinking. Well organize your thinking, give enough and clear explanation, never leave reader to guess. Try to present your idea in an accurate way, no ambiguity. Always think how readers would interpret your writing. Assume you are a reader and then write a paper. Use simple and plain language. The purpose of technical writing express your ideas correctly and clearly. So now the thing is, how do I define what is a good paper? As you see the picture towards your left or right, I don't know. A clear, you see, law of gravity, which is a new, so that will have an high impact factor. Oranges also fall like the law of gravity, but doesn't have the impact factor because already known. So a clear key idea that advances knowledge. Papers may be descriptive approaches to phenomena and processes, or purely modeling or analytical treatment. Trend is to combine approaches and to transdisciplinary analysis. Create your own network. If you work on a novel topic, organize workshops, colloquia at international conferences, have contributors agree on submitting their papers for special issues in international referred journals or an edited book. Plant the flag and establish your own little turf. One criteria for latter promotion is whether you are recognized as a leading figure in one subfield. That's how you need to create. Okay. Then become a node in networks. Establish a network. Become a member of professional organizations. Be present at their annual meetings. Stand for election of executive committees. Accept invitations to become member of editorial boards of journals after regular reviewing. Accept invitations to become actively involved in the running of journals and book series, but don't overdo it. Accept invitations to join boards of grant awarding bodies. Then what to publish? Small research projects like pilot studies, master thesis findings, critical review of literature on topics, critical analysis of popular concept, discussion forum, book reviews for journals in your field is good way to get free books and get noticed. The co-authored publications depends on the field. Co-authoring with experienced researchers can be a great experience. Combination of special skills of authors. How to get published? Is this research topic hot? You have to look for the research topic, whether it is really hot. Do you belong to a network of people interested in the topic? Go to the conferences, talk to major researchers in the field, contact the authors if paper is not accessible. A little flattery can really help you to get the papers from the different authors. Keep an eye on call for papers of conferences or special issues or edited books. Conference presentations also can be published. Excellent to get noticed. Learn to use PowerPoint effectively. Keep it simple. Don't try to cram too much in 20 minutes talk. Make sure there is some time left for the discussion. Be clear. Don't speak too quickly. Don't read the text. Try and make the audience laugh. Welcome all suggestions. Acknowledge limitations of study. Refer to future work. Never pretend to know it all. Nobody does. So finding the right journal. Aim for the balance of quick low-level conference proceedings, web-based journals. Invest time and energy in at least one or a few prestigious publications. If you can do one, you can do more. So therefore, you can begin with at a low conference level finding also is okay initially for your first publication. Get your best work in the best journals. Check them out, impact factor. Avoid non-referred journals unless it is reviews or opinion pieces for the general public. Avoid volumes with low prestige editors and our authors and our publishers. Avoid editors that work slowly. You can't wait 3 to 4 years for your first publication to come out. What to avoid in the paper? Superficial literature search, Wikipedia based. Don't claim that very little research has been done in an area if you are not 100% sure. Reviewers may react negatively. Sloppiness in presentation of text, respect style sheet, make sure references are in right format, double check list of references, make sure spelling of surnames is correct. Sweeping generalizations, you can avoid. Claims that cannot be substantiated, rhetorical style that does not match that of a journal, taking a side in a debate and ignoring the counter arguments, remain objective, don't write a pamphlet. To prepare a manuscript, we have the starting from the abstract, introduction, methods, either experimental, simulation, results, discussion, conclusions, acknowledgement, references, supplementary material. They use formal scientific style, use a short, catchy title that reflects the main conclusion. Abstract should summarize the articles briefly, include motivation, what was done, how, what was found, and major conclusions. Avoid abbreviations and references unless absolutely necessary. Keep it short, less than around 250 words in one paragraph. The article should have a storyline set out to lead from one section to the next. There should be a continuity from one section to the other. So, preparing your paper format, read the instructions, graphics, figures before you write, recommend all these things. You need to carefully look into these things. Use the templates and preparing as if you are a grammar and punctuation are important. They are fundamental to the transmission of meaning. Poor grammar, spelling, and punctuation lead to misinterpretations and ambiguity. Gives the impression of lack of care in preparation. It suggests that perhaps other aspects of the paper are careless, can upset some referees and make them more critical than otherwise, can be difficult to overcome, but it is very much essential to do so, the grammar part. Be sure, write complete sentences, not too long, not too short. Use commas properly. Be consistent in the use of tenses. Avoid slang, colloquiums, and jargons. Use no contractions. Don't, could not, don't, could not. These words don't use that way. It could be do not or could not. Write in reasonably sized paragraphs. And a few words about the tenses. When describing the details of an experiment, that is what was done, use the past tense. Like velocity was measured with. General truths are expressed in the present form. Velocity is difficult to measure. Conclusions. In the maximum correlations technique, maximum velocity coincides with. Recommendations often use future tense. Modeling this velocity structure will require. Recommendations always in the future tense. A word on voice or a mood. Though the passive voice has been preferred in scientific prose, the active voice is more vibrant, often briefer, and should be used to highlight important facts and to provide variety. Avoid writing in the first person. The repeated use of I/we can read as pompous and tiresome. So to prepare this, avoid this ambiguity, make it as simple as possible. correct words and terminology. Avoid padding. It is noteworthy that it in this example. Delete meaningless or weak words. Very, quiet, shows possibility. Ensure that pronouns, it, this, those, etc. are unambiguous. Be consistent in the use of tenses. Use significant only in its statistical sense. Write in reasonably sized paragraphs. Have one or more colleagues read your paper before you submit it. It could avoid later embarrassment. If you can't explain, that's what Einstein said, if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well. The common pitfalls: selecting a wrong journal, dual publications, bad preparation of the manuscript, weakly presented signs, incremental advance, localism, lack of discussion, insignificant conclusions. Who responds to the reviews? Despite pitfalls, publication is possible. There seems to be no study too fragmented, no hypothesis too trivial, no literature too biased or too egotistical, no design too warped, no methodology too bungled, no presentation of results too inaccurate, too obscure, and too contradictory, no analysis too self-serving, no argument too self-circular, no conclusions too trifling or too unjustified, and no grammar or syntax too offensive for a paper to end up in a print. In spite of all these things, Dr. D. Rennie, Deputy Editor General of the American Medical Association, that is his quote. So there is a hope for all of it. In spite of all these things, all these drawbacks, still there is a hope for all of us to publish. So whenever you write, this book which I mentioned here, William Strunk Jr., E.B. White, The Elements of Style of Writing the Paper, write in English as a foreign language. He has given very good description of the how to write English as a foreign language. You can look into that. I don't read this sentence. And points to be aware that use the and a properly and know when to omit them. For example, current meters have improved in reliability. It's a general reference. The current meters for deployed at sites. It's a specific, that's what we use it. A current meter was lost at the site A. Once again, it is unspecified. So the new current meter was lost at site A. This is a particular one. You must be very specific. Avoid long sentences. I told you. If you are not sure your English is good enough, find a native, educated English speaker to polish the final text. Okay. So difficult because both foreign and English prepositions have multiple meanings and idiomatic uses. Okay. Right. So these are the structures. Okay. Plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and dual publications. Definition of plagiarize. I have given you the description here. And basically, we have different software for the plagiarism, and they can use them. Those tools can be used to find out the plagiarism. And as far as I know, the plagiarism or the copying part and up to 15% is accepted. More than 15% people consider it as a plagiarism. So copying or modifying ideas, text, tables, or figures from any source without explicitly acknowledging that source, deliberate or not, it's a plagiarism. Repeating ideas, text, tables, or figures from your own published work without citing the source is self-plagiarism. To avoid plagiarism, always cite your sources for the paraphrase passages and place exact quotes inside quotation marks. Copied figure should cite the source in the legend, and many need copyright for many journals need copyright permissions. In the past, plagiarism often was undetected, but now is always picked up by textual analysis software. So this is an example for the self-plagiarism and dual publications. You can see the, the titles more or less same. The only thing is he tried to rearrange the title, but everything content is same. It's the self. Okay. Reproduction of around 80% of the same text undetected by editors or reviewers previous days. So these are the exceptions, such as local maps for the field work that gives rise to several papers. Methodologies with identical instrumental setup in various studies. Introductory passages in related papers from a single study. Reasonable to reuse as above is permissible, but it is always advisable to refer to the first of the publication. So this is the software tool. That's how they can be used very effectively these days. And the red indicates all which have been plagiarized text. So these are the concepts. This also applies to the dealing with the reviews. Once you submit the peer review process, check on the quality. But always it is preferable to academic work to be scrutinized by the third reviewer. Idea is to improve quality of reports, remove errors, eradicate irrelevancies and unjustified inferences, unsupported conclusions, avoid personal views, but it might also maintain of elites, perpetuation of the dogma, obstruction of new findings, a personal bias, since reviewers principally are established. So this is Einstein way. One Einstein famously wrote in response to the review of his own paper on gravitational waves submitted to the physical review. This is his letter. But he also said, stupid referee, as so often Einstein used to call in those days. But in fact, the referee's criticism was correct. Einstein later recognized the error and the paper was published elsewhere with a different conclusion. That was Einstein's way. And dealing with the reviews, authors can influence outcome of reviews favorably by suggesting list of suitable and unsuitable reviewers, not necessarily because of chronism. Could be that authors know who is most appropriate to judge the research. Now, based on the 788 reviews in turn journals without author selection, few suggestions received for exclusion in JGR, that is Science 309, 1974. So author suggested reviews, editor suggested reviews, you can look at the figures there. And the study 1 and studies 2. As you see, author suggested reviewers are more likely to recommend manuscript acceptance and less likely to advocate rejection than editor suggested reviewers. So whatever authors you are suggesting to the reviewers, you must be unbiased. Only focus on your field and look for the reviewers who are competent in that field. So that gives you the publication rate is very high, rather than editor suggesting the reviewers. Suggesting a full list of potential reviewers is worthwhile. Editors are aware of working relations in particular themes, so may not follow your suggestions if they are too close. Suggestions for exclusions are valuable if you know someone has a dislike for your work. Again, editor may decide otherwise, but at least is notified of possible hostility. So do not engage in polemics even with hostile reviews. Respond thoughtfully and courteously to the criticisms. Answer all the points thoroughly. If you disagree, explain exactly why in a polite and detailed manner why you disagree. Papers can be rejected because authors do not respond properly to criticism. Understand what the distant categories mean before responding. So continuing dealing with the reviews, quote and respond to every comment, indicating you agree or disagree with the criticism. Unless the criticism are exclusively minor points of spelling or similar replies like we have corrected the text following the reviewer's comments are insufficient in themselves. Reviewers and editors need to see original comment, your reaction, and the changed text or figure altogether. Justify if you have any disagreement with any aspect of the reviewer's recommendations. Lay out your reasoning clearly and courteously. Sometimes an apparently major criticism arises because an explanation was ambiguous and misconstrued. If so, clarify the text. Always incorporate your responses to reviewers' comments and criticisms into the revised manuscript. Ensure that changes indicated in your response have been made in the paper. They will be checked by the reviewers and editors. It is generally a waste of time producing extended text and additional figures solely to explain a point to reviewers. The point is so complicated, the explanation should be in the paper. So reviewers donate their time freely. Many invest significant time and effort with the intent of helping you produce the best possible paper. All provide their best efforts with limited time. They deserve thanks and courtesy. Each paper normally goes to 3 reviewers in 2 rounds of revision. How many papers have you reviewed recently? Is a question to all of you. So, following the introduction in 2000 of double-blind review by so and so, should female authors use only initials? Results unsupported by the further research. These are the some controversial remarks and reports written by these authors about the gender. So, dealing with the reviews, we portray peer review to the public as a sacred process that helps to make science our most objective teller. But we know that the system of peer review is biased, unjust, and uncomfortable, incomplete, easily fixed, often insulting, usually ignorant, occasionally foolish, and frequently wrong. This is the comment by the R. Horton, one of the great editors of the Lancet. On the other hand, no one has suggested anything better, and it is demonstrably superior to tradition, received authority, revelation, and intuition as a means of approximating the truth. Options like open reviewing and double blind reviewing are being explored, but as yet do not appear convincingly superior. So you can see the ResearchGate Academic EDU and ResearchGate Net, etc. With the move to open source publishing, there will be undoubtedly lots of changes. So dealing with the reviewers, the editor's 8 scale for reviewers who say, yes, I would like to review, but never submit review. Yes, and proceed to air personal grievances. Reviewers, yes, and send inconsequential review. Nothing, do not respond. Yes, and calmly let no, too busy, but suggest alternatives. Yes, and calmly by the deadline. So people, if you look at this graph, hate versus love, and the editors usually hate the people who tell us the so many cock and bull stories in reviewing the publications. And basically, they usually love the people who maintain, who accept everything and comply with the deadlines for helping the reading of the papers. So I personally impressed by the diligence shown by the some reviewers, and at the same time dismayed by the number of invitees who deign not to reply, who think it is insult to reply. Okay, you know where we fit. I think you should know where you fit. Reviewing other authors' writing. You see and learn from the common mistakes of other authors. You learn what the journal requires of other response to criticism. You become aware of the need of the attention. You recognize the typical problems with figures. You appreciate more the importance of the abstract when you read other authors' writing. You see the latest advances before others. Your opinion influences the science. Be a conscientious reviewer. It is time well spent that will benefit your writing. So unofficial reviews that you get it, comments which you get, any result that attracts public attention or affects vested interest may provoke comment by tweets or blogs and some internet. Only possible response is courteous and reasoned argumentation of the case. Ensure your results and conclusions are correct and logically justified. To maximize your citations, readers no longer skim journals content list. They use internet searches. So search engine robots search for keywords, include them in your title, repeat them in the abstract and in section headings, all in as a natural way as possible. Check the popularity of keywords with Google, but beware that the most searched terms will throw up most competitors, while specific long-tailed keywords may find your interest group more efficiently. Also cite your related publications and those that cite your work. So these are the examples for the 3170 sites for his 1964 Boston paper. Did not use them means, but ISA stats show that 47% of all papers are never cited. Okay, so remembering Stugen's law, 90% of everything is scrap. So getting your paper accepted, keep it simple, focus on specific thing. Better to explain one idea in detail than many superficially. Announce that idea is abstract, intro and conclusions. Refer to it in the title. Follow style, structure of papers published in journals you have in mind. If more ideas or themes come to mind, split it off for the future publications. Rewriting, be prepared to rewrite and assume, go through several revisions, feedback from colleagues, supervisors, native speakers, reviewers, editors. Follow suggestions from editors. Welcome useful suggestions, but make sure you remain coherent and consistent. If you disagree with the reviewer's suggestions, make a case to the editor. Be self-critical, but not to the point of paralysis. What to do with the rejected papers? Read rejection letter or first para. Take deep breath. Don't send angry, impulsive emails. Return to it when you have calmed down. Couple of days, maybe you can take couple of days. Then take criticism into account. Maybe change angle of the paper, orientation of the paper. Focus on strongest points. If necessary, rework, design and analysis. Submit to the another journal. See it as a new project. Aim for a slightly less prestigious journal. Don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Work on different papers simultaneously. Or if one fails, it's not a total disaster. Have studies at different stages of completion. Collaborate in other people's projects, but don't end up doing all the work. Ethical and moral standards. Establish a reputation of a reliable and honest researcher. Always acknowledge your sources. Be prepared to give advice. Don't be pretentious. Don't take your work too seriously. Be optimistic and friendly with the colleagues. Ethical standards. As a reviewer, make sure you give constructive criticism together with your honest opinion. Never be nasty or dogmatic. If you guessed who reviewed your paper and you meet that person, don't start talking about the paper unless the reviewer starts about it. Don't cite or use data of a paper you have been asked to review. If you wish to contact the authors, ask the editor to pass on the message, but don't contact directly. This is the overview of the peer review process. Once you submit a paper, you get a confirmation of the receipt, then initial decision by the editor. So directly it can go to the rejection. If you find there is some substance in the paper, you will decide to review. Then you will assign the reviewers, minimum 3. These days, 5 reviewers also they are considering. And reviewers accept the invitation. Reviews completed, and that could be 3. Once again, revise or accept or reject. And with this result, it goes to the notification to the author, either it has to be revised or accept. If it is revised, revisions received, revisions checked. After that, again, it goes for the acceptance. So that's how the paper sent to the publication. That is over. So basically, in doing this process, I have put here performance versus pressure. To write a paper, it's really a Herculean task. Therefore, you need to undergo some kind of a stress, hypo stress, where that almost a low stress we call. The performance has to be good impact factor journal if you want to publish. You must have Eustress. Eustress is reasonable, and that gives you the performance also high. But if it is goes up more than Eustress, it is beyond your capacity, and that leads to hyper stress, and again that leads to distress. Therefore, maintaining your pressure at Eustress level for the better performance. This is a human function curve. The pictorial representation of the flow. If I look at initially, let's say you are a good researcher, you are about to start your research, let's say stage 1. And fortunately, you get a established researcher who is at A3. If you combine you with the A3 guy, so you will be facing anxiety because he's a reputed researcher and you are starting your research. So at that state, you undergo a lot of anxiety. But if you can sustain that anxiety, you can go along with him and you can go to the flow channel that is A3 to A4. That possibility is there. But A1, your skills are very less. So therefore, if I take you to the highest researcher, that is to A3, you have some stress and all those things. Finally, if you can maintain that, you will go to the A4. The other case could be you can improve on the skills. A1 is low skills, A2 is the higher skills. So as you go from A1 to A2, you improve the skills, and from there, A2 to you can go to the A4. That's the flow channel. That's how the performance increases. Okay. So the summary, there are no secrets. The necessary information is freely available. Read the manual before you writing. The pitfalls on the road to publication can be overcome. by careful preparation and attention. Courteous, considered, and detailed responses to the reviews are essential. We should recognize our reviewing depth to the community. For every paper published, we owe at least 2 to be reviewed. We should be diligent and timely in returning our reviews. Though peer review can be robustly criticized as inadequate, it is still the best we have and should be supported while improvements are sought. In this age of instant communication, unofficial or uncontrolled review and criticism of controversial results will inevitably occur outside the learned bodies and journals. So science stands or falls on its reproducibility, openness, and honesty. Final recommendations: research is a fun. Publish to flourish. It's a game. Writing up requires patience and perseverance. It is worth the effort. Nobody is perfect. Everybody sweats. 90% sweat and 10% inspiration. That makes a good paper. Be thankful of the reviewers who sends you as 10-page report with criticism and comments. That person has spent a lot of time and effort on your work, and it may be a major name who might start referring to your work. So these are my milestone publications: value-added food single-cell protein, the impact factor, the citations, recent publications, biofuels from South Carolina University. These are my other publications last year. So the recent publications and the books authored, the Springers. It's a recently released book. So the key points to remember: publishing is a process, not a goal. It is about good communication. It is both exciting and fun. Thanks to all the budding researchers, as well as the experienced researchers. And I profusely thank the Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor K.R.S. Sambasivarao, and the coordinator for this program, Professor Guru. So thanks to all of you. Now it's a time. Take the questions.
Sir,
Thank you, sir. Very
thank
good
you.
question. People are appreciating, sir. Very good presentation and very good information. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Almost 400 people are there.
Yeah.
They were appreciating like anything. Everyone, some of them are asking PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
If you feel okay, you can send me email. You can share me. Otherwise, yes, sir.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I will send it to you directly. Then you
Yes,
can
sir.
pass it to the.
No, not to all, but only 1 or 2 people asked me personally. I told them I will ask the speaker if he gives, I will give you. I told, sir.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think there are some questions Guru will ask you, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
Thank you so much for your excellent presentation, sir.
Thank you.
So now I request all the participants to post their questions in the question and answer box. So already 11 questions are there in the question and answer box. Sir, please go into that question and answer box and then give the answer, sir. Okay, right, sir.
Okay.
This is the question from Parthankar Chaudhary. If plagiarism by some faculty is deliberately ignored by that institution, what next step can be taken to register such inactions?
That is left to the administration. That is not my job.
Okay. So there is another question from Attanu Bhattacharya. Sir, please tell us about the suggested reviewers and its importance. That is question number 1. And question number 2 is best way to draw graphical abstract.
Yeah. As far as the question number one is concerned, suggested reviewers. As an author, you know the field where you are working. And therefore, you have to look for the reviewers who are working in the similar field. And you need to suggest the reviewers based on your topic, based on your research, not based on the personal interest. Hello,
Yes, sir.
is it okay?
Yeah.
You need to suggest the reviewers
So can you
based on the
explain
field.
more about the graphical abstract, sir?
Yeah,
Yes.
the best way to draw the graphical abstract is the abstract content that you have. That can be, I think there is a software to draw the graphical abstract also in terms of the figures. We can do that. We can explain that in terms of the figures, we can do that. And we have a software driver for the graphical abstract also. So in this case, when you say graphical, most of the things, the sentences, wording, and all those things wouldn't be there. It's mostly a figure-like abstract.
Excellent.
And nowadays, the research, the high impact fact journal, they're asking general abstract as well as the graphical abstract also.
Yes.
Okay. Next.
Yes, sir. Next question is,
what
would you please explain what is incremental advance?
Yes, that's a good question. Now, in your field or in your work, you did small work, and that is an incremental work. You did some work, and with the increment of some work, you want to publish. That's not really advisable. You have done a lot of work, and with maybe you have, let's say, a result is about 90%. You got a result up to 91 or 92%. So I call it as an incremental progress. So that need not be considered for the publication. It has to be more drastic or more percentage of development increment that is worthwhile to publish.
Okay.
In your
Thank you,
first
sir.
paper, let's say you got about 80%. After 6 months, you want to produce 82% of your results. That's a slight increment of 2%. That's not really worthwhile. That's what I mean.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
This is the question from Sanjit Kundu. What is the most important thing you should enjoy writing?
Yeah. As I told you in one of my slides, you think you are a reader and then write. Then you enjoy it. Don't think as an author you are writing something and others people look at that. First, you think that while writing, you think you are a reader. And you feel how the reader feels whatever you are writing. So that way it really helps you get into the rhythm of your scientific knowledge, the immerse into the paper publication. Get into that. When you are doing paper publication, paper writing style, try to avoid all other things, all other activities. It is a dedicated effort. You need to focus. Sometimes if it's a very high impact factor journal, you have to be with it 24/7. And that's a kind of an enjoyment. Don't do anything by compulsion or by force.
Yes.
Feel free and try to enjoy it. Think as a reader and then write it. And that is an enjoyable aspect. Thank you.
So,
yes.
So there's another question from Salam Sham Chandra Singh. Publishing paper for the first time is scary. Sir, please explain some tips for first time publication and some journals which could be helpful for first time publication, if any.
Yeah. There are many journals, open access journals for the first time publication. I tell you my own story, my first publication. I think participants would love to hear this. I wrote a paper way back in 90s. And in those days, there was no emails. It's only by mail, by post, snail mails. So after writing a paper, we need to post it. And that has to go to the Elsewhere publication, London. That was my first thing which I sent there. And immediately Immediately means 15 days time. The post takes 15 days time. It was totally rejected. And the comments were really horrible. He was abusing me like anything. Then, when I saw that, I felt very bad. What is this? Why it has come like this? But I cried. For 2 days, I cried. Why these comments like this? After that, I didn't lose my heart. Same thing I revised and I again sent to him. And this time, the criticism or the caustic comments were much more caustic than the first time. So this went on 2, 3 times, 4 times it went on, so many corrections. And obviously the editor and the reviewer, those days there was no reviewer, it's only editor. And finally, after 4 things, for these processes, and then he has suggested me how to make it more polite and some corrections. And ultimately, that was the first paper for me which was published. And today, as on today also, it stands highest impact factor, the max number of citations for that paper. To tell you that the failure is the success story. That's what it started. So in your case also, with the question that you are asking me, you try to take, since the first time publication, go for a low impact factor journal. Don't go for without impact factor journal. Please go for a low impact factor journal, relatively low, and try to send the papers. I think more or less write in a serious way, and then maybe there is a more chance, if not first time, maybe second time after revisions, it may be accepted.
Thank you, sir. This is the question from Anushri Barua. What is the process or steps that should be kept in mind while writing a book chapter?
Yeah. If you are talking about a book chapter of your own subject, like the difference between the journal and the book is, of course, you have the abstract, same thing like the journal. The intro part, introduction in the book, which you write, will be definitely longer than what you do in the journal. And you can also include in the introduction the literature, citing the different authors who worked in the same field. Then if it's your book is related, your book chapter is related to the experimental methods. So you need to explain the materials and methods involved in that in a more descriptive way. And methods can be, you can write in the appendix form also, you can put them. And explain your results with more tables, more graphs can come in the book rather than in the journal. So these are the things. Mostly make it as schematic, figures, tables, and graphs you highlight them even in the book. That really gives you the good perception for other people to read your book chapter.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, this is a question from our participant. How to find the original Scopus journal?
Yeah, we have the literature for the original Scopus journal. We get in the libraries also, that is available. And there is a software available with which we can also find out the original Scopus journals from that. There is a tool. From the tools also, there are a number of tools, umpteen number of tools that are for the original Scopus thing.
Thank you, sir. This is the question from Dr. Asimul Islam Twaha. Can chapters from one's own thesis be published in a journal? And will it be considered self-plagiarism?
Yes, absolutely. The chapter which you publish in a book cannot be published as a paper in the journal.
Okay.
Unless you want to, as I said, the plagiarism is allowed until 15%, 15%. More than that, we can't accept. Okay.
Okay, sir. This is a question from Dr. V. Chitra. Can you explain about Mendel's data?
Yeah, we have the Mendeleev's data as well as the explaining on this is difficult, but Mendeleev's, we have a Mendeleev's, you can also become a member in that,
Okay.
where you can see the number of publications from other authors, and your publication also can be there. So that's how the Mendeleev's can really give you the good networking facility for you to interact with the other researchers in your own field.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is the
Next.
question from Manojit Garai.
Uh-huh.
Sir, how to conduct good research in social science subjects?
Yes, basically, when you say social sciences, we have the different methods such as the inventory, surveying, statistics. Basically, social surveys, please highlight the surveys, statistics, the standard deviation, ANOVA table. So that really gives you more impact for your publication for the social sciences.
Right, sir.
Okay.
So this is a question from Shamshad. How to enhance our citations?
That's a good question. The enhancing citation, you should be known by your publication. People should read more and more about your work. And obviously, it increases your citation. Nowadays, what's happening is, suppose you have your friend, you tell him that please cite my paper. So these things are happening, which is not a good sign. So you should be known, your worth should be known by the work which you do, and people should read that. More number of people read that, more citation.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything
This is
else?
a question from Amit Majumdar. Please
Uh-huh.
give some light on self-plagiarism.
Yeah, but as I shown you the two papers, I write a one paper, and the same thing, most of the things, 85% of that, I also publish another paper with all this data into the other journal, and I name also as the other paper. It's a self-plagiarism. My own work, I'm copying to the extent of 85%, and then writing one more paper, just rearranging the titles and submitting to the another journal. This is self-plagiarism. My own copy.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is a question from Manojit Garai. Sir, can we infer finding of previous studies in discussion part of a research article? Can we criticize previous findings in this forum if applicable?
Yes, you can do that, but don't be criticized in such a way with a scientific basis.
Okay.
With the evidence, you are criticizing somebody's work because of these reasons. So you must substantiate, you must defend that. Just criticize because you don't like that work. If you are criticizing, no meaning. Based on the fact, you criticize and show those evidence for your criticism, then it is valid.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right.
This is a question from Bapi Debnath. How to choose a suitable journal for my relevant research area?
Relevant topic. You look for the keywords of the research and Google them. The keywords which appear in the different the journals which are related to that, you will know immediately. And that is one way, Googling, that will tell you. And there's a software also. Once you put the keywords, you get number of journals. You need to shortlist them pertaining to your own research field. And that's how you can filter them. Maybe you get related to your field about 10-15 journals. From there, you look for if you are a first time writer, look for the lowest impact factor and then try to publish in that.
Okay, sir. This is a question from Prasanna Kumari. What about repeating terms that appear in the title as keywords also?
Repeating terms in the title?
Yeah, but I'm
And
also not clear, sir. Appear in the title as keywords also. Jaya
No.
Somu RS, editor,
No.
Indian Journal
No.
of Experimental Biology.
Yeah, the keywords which we find in the title, they cannot be repeated.
Yes, sir.
They cannot be repeated. The title is different, and in the abstract, which you are going to write, the keywords which you find, that should be related to the total paper.
Okay, sir. This is the question from Dr. Sangeeta Rai Chaudhary. Do you think that statistical analysis is mandatory for publication in the sphere of social science research?
More or less, yes. More or less, we have not only statistics, we can also go to the RSM techniques, response surface methodology. Such type of systems are available, and it is good. I don't say it is mandatory, but it is good practice. It increases the chances of publication.
Sir, it is in continuation of that question regarding that social science research. How do
Yeah.
you examine the impact in the social science research paper? Because in the social science research paper, there is no impact factor like science paper.
Yes.
So
They have
what to do, sir?
they have, based on, if you can look at the hygiene value, if not impact factor of that journal,
Okay.
and based on that you can go for the publication. It's not necessary. I know most of the social sciences, they don't have the impact factor. They have
Right, sir.
some index. They have some index.
Right.
They call it as impact factor, impact index. So
Okay.
that can be seen. Okay.
Then another question from Venkateshwarlu. Why the
Mhm.
NCRT journals are not giving impact factors? What is the major reason?
Because as I know, they are trying to promote and encourage the publications from the scientists or the researchers, young people. And because of that, they are not giving the NCRT, they are not giving the impact factor. And that is limited to only NCRT, is not in an international way anyway. It is restricted to the localized.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is the question from Vasudha. Sir, many journals are removing from UGC list. Why they are not? Why they are removing? And what to do those who already published before the UGC list?
Yeah. I think the reason being, I don't know, but perhaps I think it is because of the quality of the publications. And most of the journals have been withdrawn from that list. The quality of the publication.
Okay, sir. So this is the question from Srikant Nair. Please guide on how to choose a suitable research topic in tourism and hospitality research.
That tourism and hospitality are two big words.
Okay.
The two, yeah. So, in which field you are working in tourism? So, narrow down your ideas and go into that type of thing, because tourism a big sector, very big sector.
Okay.
So, where you are working in the tourism, which is your specialization field, go into that and look for the writing articles or paper.
Okay, sir. There's another question from our participants. Could you please say about a monograph?
Yeah, monograph, book, paper, all three different things. Monograph is basically related to your own work, which you are not citing many references and many appendices. Your own monograph is basically your own work,
Right, sir.
and you are writing that in form of a book, but it doesn't really include a lot of literature, survey, and references in that.
Yes, sir. So this is the question from Bipul Das Chaudhary. Is the only impact factor decide the quality of journal?
Impact factor, yes, and hygiene value, that will decide. Yes. For example, if you are talking about today highest impact factor journal is Nature.
Yes.
So based on that has high impact factor because more number of readers, more citations. As on today, that is the first. Yes, impact factor definitely decides the journal quality.
So this is the question from Lal Sutlian Kaipan. While
Mhm.
publishing journal, is it necessary to use hypothesis?
It depends again, it's a science journal or a social journal.
Yes.
If it is a hypothesis, we can make use in the social sciences. But scientific journals, hypothesis is not really valid.
Okay, sir. Then another question from Kushbu Verma. What should be the main criteria while writing a review paper?
There are two types of review papers. One is the critical review paper. This could be written by the most of the seasoned or experienced authors write critical review. The other one is that just a review. So basically, the students, the PhD scholars, or junior faculty, they can write a review paper. But whereas the experienced people, professors and the senior scientists, they can write well the critical review paper.
Right, sir.
Okay.
There is another question. Sir, please share more on predatory journals.
Predatory journals. Yeah, there are many journals which are predatory, which are the feeding for the high impact factor journals, either in the social sciences as well as the scientific engineering journals. They focus on only basics and fundamentals research. So that forms for the application of the research in the high impact factor journals. For example, science, it is totally focused on the basic research.
Okay, sir. There's another question from our participant. If a good quality research paper did not get citation, will be count as useless? Is it okay? Hello. Sir, that audio not coming, sir. Okay, okay. Maybe internet, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, sorry, you are there?
Yes, sir. Professor Ravindra, sir. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Sir, next question is, this is from Dr. D. Ramachandran. My question related to thesis writing. Usually in science subjects, it is somewhat difficult to overcome the right introduction for the explanation about the instrument and how can we overcome?
That is pertaining to your own field. If you are working on a research work,
Yes,
you
sir.
should know everything about the instrument.
Correct.
and then accordingly you write it. Otherwise, you look for the instrument details from the people who supply you. They will give you some specifications, the diagrams. Understand that and try to write in your own way.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is the question from Biplab Sarkar. What is 90% sweat and 10% inspiration?
Yeah, that is just that means you need to work
Okay.
more and more, and to do that 90% of work, you must be inspired by somebody, by some other authors or who have published more. There are many papers, there are many social sciences, sociology related, public administration, political science. These are journals which they freely accept the paper. They love to take the papers to publish if it has a metal.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the same question thrown by the same person. How
Okay.
much of the similarity index is allowed to be in the journal, as some of the literature and concepts may be same in case?
Yes, we don't allow the similarity index. Same thing. It holds good about 15-20%, not more than that.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
The participant, they have asked around 62 questions and nicely you have answered. So
Thank you,
really we are benefited in this particular topic. In near future also we are awaiting for your very good, excellent talk, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much,
I
sir.
must be thankful to you
Yeah,
for
thank
your
you, sir.
patience.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks to all the participants.
Yes, participant, yes, certificate will be issued automatically. So don't worry about that part, and thank you for your patience and hearing. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Professor Sambasivara Garu. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.